cracks in Dede and Mide's friendships are finally turning into a massive, massive hole. Ladies and gentlemen, I've given you all a heads up in several videos about how I foresee these two splitting in no time. And it's caused by a lot of things, yes. But the event of yesterday had a huge role to play in where they are at the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of things were said from Mide to Bright. And Bright, of course, who has always, in my opinion, been obsessed with Dede and everything that concerns Dede in that house, had a field day yesterday, saying all sorts to Mide, giving her numerous reasons on why she should make a bold move, right? So he was advising her in two ways. Oh, have you talked to her? Have you talked to her? And then on the other hand, it was saying all manner of things about Dede, putting ideas in Mide's head. And Mide seems to be that gullible, yes. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about those conversations that they had, but more importantly, we're going to talk about the reasons why these things, these issues have actually, come up in their friendship. Because I think I've actually been hinting on all of these issues on my previous videos, but on this particular video, we're going to talk about it in details. Now, aside the precariousness of Dede and Mide's friendship, there is now the sudden closeness between Dede and Kola. Ladies and gentlemen, these two are now close. When I say close, I mean this close. Now, don't get me wrong. They did not kiss. They did not kiss. They did not cuddle yet, but they were this close. Yeah, and I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about all of these things on my video. So go ahead, watch this video to the end. Don't skip out on any part. There's a lot you do not want to miss out on, all right? But before we get into it, hi, you're especially welcome to my channel. My name is Bbnaija. This is Frankly Speaking with Bbnaija, and I am the girl with the tea. All of that said, let's just quickly get right into the details of this video. All right, now, before we get into the issues that Mide and Dede are currently having in their friendship, let's x-ray what the relationship used to be like, all right? So these two said that they met each other at their auditions, right? And they both clicked. So when they got into the house, it was quite easy for them to gravitate towards each other. They found understanding in each other. They found that they had a lot of things in common and they liked each other's energy. So they gelled, became friends in the house. They found peace and comfort in each other's company, yeah? And because most of the time, both of them are mostly quiet, they're sort of in sync somehow, right? So they found their peace with each other. In Big Brother's house, you need to have somebody that you can lean on most of the time. So they were able to lean on each other for emotional and mental support, right? So everything had been going well and good. And then the whole Zita altercation with Mide happened, right? And Dede tried her best to fight for her friend because she was taken aback. She was shocked. But then she was in the middle of it all, like literally in the middle of it all. She was facing Danbo's kid and Zita, right? She was fighting for her friend. Even Jason was also there as well. So she really held it down for her friend. Now, the issue started when Mide started expecting way more than usual from Dede. So you know that in friendship relationships, sometimes the dynamics could be that you're friends with someone that does not really care about who you make friends with or who you don't. But other dynamics could be such that, if a friend has issues with another person, they expect you to inherit that beef automatically. So it turns out that even though she's not saying it outrightly, that is what Mide expects from Dede. She expects Dede to be her ride or die in the house. She expects Dede to not be friends with Zita or to even be having conversations with Zita. But Dede is not like that. Yeah, even Victory that she had an altercation with in the very first week, Saturday early morning, or was it Sunday early morning, they still, just they are still cordial. They're not particularly friends, but they're just cordial. And it's not like she has any ill feelings towards the guy. So it's the same thing with this Zita situation. She does not have any ill feelings towards Zita. And so Mide has these very high expectations of Dede, but Dede cannot meet up with that. And so there was the situation where I think it was some time last week where, okay, it was on Saturday after the Saturday night party, yes, when the housemates had returned from the party and from the party room, and things were being said, and Mide picked offense because she felt like Zita was saying some derogatory things about her, and Dede and Joanna were laughing at her. The night that thing had happened, the way Mide had confronted Dede about it, it had sort of rubbed her off the wrong way. It had rubbed Dede off the wrong way because she probably wasn't expecting that. And in that conversation, she had asked Mide like, oh, I don't understand, what's this about? Are we supposed to be inheriting enemies now? And Mide was like, oh no, I'm not saying that, but my enemy has been saying that I'm the most boring housemate, so I was not expecting you to be laughing with her. I'm not expecting you to be laughing with my enemy when my enemy is saying XYZ. So in that situation, Dede had tried to clear the air, had tried to clarify things with Mide, but the way the conversation had ended, it did not seem like Mide accepted Dede's explanation. Why? Because at that point in time when that whole thing happened in the lounge, Dede had been in a very, very serious conversation with Joanna, who she is recently gravitating towards. In fact, she and Joanna, they've recently been gravitating towards each other. They've been cool, they've been friends, and they've been spending a lot of time together. Also, especially because for most of the sponsor tasks that they have been having, sometimes they find themselves in the same team, you know, so it's more like team bonding, right? And also, when you watch those two people together, you find out that their energy really clicks. Their vibe really matches, yeah? And when you're looking at the fun side of Dede, you just spot her with Joanna, you're seeing the fun side of Dede. But when you're looking for the very, very serious side of Dede, it's usually when she's with Mide, because Mide takes herself very seriously, just as much as Dede also takes herself very, very seriously. Something you all should take note of, yeah? Before that Zita's altercation had happened with Mide, there's been something that Mide has been doing to Dede, right? Now, when Dede's triangle started, the whole guys not liking Dede in the house situation, when it started, it just seemed like Mide gets offended when conversations are being had around her, you know, that says that Dede is getting a lot of attention from the guys. So sometimes it seems like maybe because she's not getting that same amount of attention, maybe it's sort of making her feel inferior to Dede. And with the kind of person Dede is, when both of them have conversations about it, Dede talks about it flippantly, like she doesn't really care, she's not interested, like she doesn't really care. Mide, on the other hand, at that point in time, that's in the first week, was working towards being in a stable ship with someone. Now, it could have been Kaikumi, but Kaikumi had the whole Isabella situation going on. And then Bright came into the picture, and because she too needed her own ship to lean on in the house, whilst Dede has her own triangle happening, she pushed herself, like she really, really invested herself into that thing with Bright. And that is why no matter what Bright does, Mide still feels comfortable to stay there, because for her, it's like, if I leave Bright, who else am I going to go to, right? So there's been that inconsistency there. Also, looking at the fact that Mide likes Kola, I'm still keeping an eye on this thing that Mide and Kola has. Like, it's not like Kola is interested in Mide, no, but you can sense that Mide likes Kola, and in a way, really, really wants Kola for Dede and nobody else. So every time Dede confides in her about anything with regards to her relationship with these guys, Mide will carry it and go and tell to Kola, more like snitching on Dede to Kola, right? Now, she's not snitching like entirely, but more like giving Kola ammunition to continue to chase and to push and to pressurize Dede into giving him attention and reciprocating his affections. Now, if you look at it, you could call it a friendship betrayal. Yeah, a betrayal of trust, a betrayal of confidence, because most of the things they talk about in Mide's head, or rather in Dede's head, it's in confidence, right? Everything is confidential. But Mide would take some of this information and go, in fact, literally dump it with Bright and Kola, thereby giving Kola more ammunition to chase Dede with. And then Bright, on the other hand, all of this information tends to increase his resentment towards Dede. Let's not forget that Bright has still not forgiven Dede from day one for refusing to hug him. He said to Big Brother that it bruised his ego, so he still hasn't gotten over it. He's still very much offended. But from time to time, you see him trying to please Dede, trying to do things for Dede, and I've cited so many instances. So it also brings to the fore the question of, is it that Bright is actually more interested in Dede than he is in Mide? And so he's just hanging around Mide so that he will continue to get information about Dede, and then probably eventually along the line, look for how to step into the picture. What could go wrong? You know, so all of these things are happening. And every time you listen to Mide's conversation with Bright about Dede, sometimes you can sense a bit of jealousy coming from her. From Bright, you sense a bit of resentment, but the resentment also comes with some level of obsession. Like, I hate this girl so much for what she did to me, but I still have a crush on her, so I'm not going to easily let her go like that. So these sentiments are there. They are real. Dede, on the other hand, is oblivious to all of these things, because for her, these people are friends. She's cool with these people, so she doesn't really know what's happening. Now, come back to Dede's new connection with Joanna. That connection, I told you all on one of my videos that connection was supposed to happen between Mide and Joanna, but both of them, they constantly clash whenever they're having conversations about their life's story. You know, it's like it's a competition for who has suffered the most in this life. Joanna talks a lot. She talks too much. She doesn't know how to listen. She lacks proper listening skills. Mide, on the other hand, she listens, but sometimes she too always wants to, you know, share and share and share. And so they were constantly clashing. So that bond did not necessarily work out between Mide and Joanna. But between Joanna and Dede, it worked, because Dede does not share much about her family. She does not share much about her life. But Joanna enjoys talking about her life a lot. So Dede does the listening, Joanna does the talking. And so it made their connection seamless. And Mide does not seem to appreciate it, because it's like the more time Dede spends with Joanna, the more Mide feels alone. And so she gets to now spend more time with Bright, which is not something she actually wanted initially, because after that whole shenanigan they both did in the pool, I think in the first week, she had told Bright that she needed space because she realized that she cannot really control herself around him. So I don't know if they've been doing things in the house, but her intention was to actually have space away from Bright, which means she's going to be spending more time with her friend Dede. But now Dede has been spending a lot more time with Joanna, and then there's Koyin as well. So it just sort of messed up her own plan. So now she has no choice but to stick to Bright, who is more like the only other person aside Dede that she can actually confide in, and also has built an alliance with in that house. So guys, I don't know if you all see how the dynamics of these people's relationship now is just very, very chaotic, very, very entangled, very, very hectic. Now, fast forward to what exactly happened yesterday in the salon. Both of them, that's Mide and Dede, they had actually had a slight argument, like a slight disagreement. They did not get to the salon on time. They had actually gotten to the salon when people had announced that the salon would be closing in 1 hour. So they had gone to the salon much later, I think even maybe 30 minutes before it closed, and they were trying to do their hair. Dede had more hair to coil. Mide had something like what I have on right now, a bob wig. She wanted to, you know, straighten it. So Dede was busy trying to work on her own hair, and then Mide needed assistance to work on hers. Now, Dede's hair is more of a long, curly hair, meaning she needs more time to curl it all up. But Mide needed Dede's assistance, and Dede was sort of trying to like, look, I have mine that I'm actually trying to work on. Why? I mean, you need to be curious. Like, it takes for you to be curious to know how to do it. So guys, the nature of the argument, it just went from 0 to 100. They were not screaming or yelling at each other, but Dede was trying to put Mide through by word of mouth, by not necessarily leaving our own task to go assist Mide, because there's no time. But Mide misconstrued it, and the way she misconstrued that whole thing, it can only be from that grudge that she's been harboring in her mind, that, okay, I'm losing my friend to somebody else, and also my friend is actually liaising with my enemies, you know, that type of thing. So Mide picked offense, and then I was trying to explain to her that, listen, I did not intend to offend you with me trying to explain to you how to do this thing. No. So don't take it as me attacking you. Why do you always want to take everything anybody says to you as an attack? But Mide did not find it funny. Anyways, they had that fallout. And so later on, Mide was telling that whole incident to Bright, and she was expressing how hurt she was. She felt like Dede was dismissive and sort of condescending, and sort of made it look like she does not use her brain to think about things, that it's like Dede always wants to put her down. Now, I've not seen any other instance when Dede has tried to put down Mide, but that was how she expressed her feelings. From the moment Mide started sharing all of these things to Bright, ladies and gentlemen, it felt like Bright had been waiting for that moment all of his life. Because the way he jumped on the conversation, oh my goodness. First, it came from a place of concern. I mean, which we know is not really concern, right? But it just made it look like it was concern, you know? So he was asking her, oh, have you talked to her? Why don't you want to talk to her? And Mide was like, I beg, that she's not interested, that she doesn't even want to talk to her, that after all, everybody came to this house on their own, that it's not like Dede is her best friend's self, that she actually has her own best friend outside of the house. It was just ranting. I mean, you could tell that she was really in her feelings at that point in time. Now, Bright, as I said, acting like he was speaking from a place of concern, was telling her that maybe you should talk to her. And I say, I don't even know what that Dede is even feeling like, Seth. That the one that is even pissing him off the most is when the whole house is talking about this her triangle situation, and she'll be acting as if she's on top of the world. That the thing is just so annoying. And the way the guy was like, it was coming with so much resentment. And I'm looking at this guy like, Brian, what is your own? I mean, you too, Oga, you wanted to start your own triangle. You were already talking to Thelma, and now that Otega has been evicted from the house, I am very certain that Bright is going to start chasing Thelma again. So, dude, what's your own? You want to be the center of attention? Go for it. Why are you upset when somebody else is actually getting all of that attention? You know? So I'd listened to Mide ranting, and she had concluded that she was not going to have a conversation with Dede. You know, for her, Dede is not even her best friend. She has her best friend on the outside. Dede is always putting her down. And I'm thinking, Dede is always putting you down. But from the look of things, in people's friendship, it's mutual. There's a balance, except maybe the camera is not showing us everything. But from what I have seen, it seemed as though there was a balance. Nobody's the king or the queen in the friendship. Both of them are queens in the friendship. Mutual respect. Guys, listen here. All I can say from all I have observed from their friendship is that Mide is jealous of this move that Dede is making. And what is that move? Dede wants to be free. She does not want to inherit people's enemies, not even a friend, Mide. She likes Mide as a friend. She still wants to be friends with Mide, but she doesn't want to start inheriting the enemies of people that, you know, Mide is not on good terms with. She does not want that. That is not her mission in the house. That is not her game. She already has her plate full. A lot of people in the house do not like her, so it's going to be her worsening her own situation by moving on with Mide to inherit enemies. And so she had been telling Mide that they should have a conversation, that Mide should have a conversation with Zita. She has told Zita to have a conversation with Mide because she and Zita, they are cool. But Mide said she doesn't want to have a conversation with Zita. So what should they do? And there's also the other part where the guys are involved, right? Mide is still continuously spilling Dede's moves to Kola. So the question is why? So we can say that, okay, for the sake of the competition, she's playing her game. But we know that from the very get-go, she's been subtly betraying Dede with information that Dede has been sharing to her to Kola. So guys, I am just here watching all of these things unfold, and I just have a very strong feeling that one day soon, Mide is going to pull a very, very heavy card of betrayal on Dede, a louder one than what she's currently doing. But I don't know about you all. Let me know what you think about that friendship, all right? Now, quickly, on to Kola and Dede. This one is going to be very brief. Ladies and gentlemen, after heavy pursuit of Dede from week 1, Kola finally got some reward from Dede. And this reward is Dede really allowing him to get a bit more physical with her, in the sense that he can now hold her hand, he can now remove something from her face, he can now touch her hair. And Dede was literally resting her head on his thighs in the lounge, and they were so seated, like they were so closely seated, and they were talking, they were speaking in low tones, they were so cozy. And people that had sent them outside, they had gone outside, and then he had told them to go back inside again. That's all the housemates. They had gone back inside, and this time around, it was Kola resting his head on Dede's body. And when it was time for them to prepare for the live eviction show, Kola was the one that called her, oh, let's go and get ready. And she followed. Like, they are now acting as if they are in a proper shape. But Dede was still asking him questions like, okay, what do you want? What do you want from me? And Kola was like, hey, I just want this affection, the attention, And she said, okay, she's trying to catch up because Kola is quite fast. Like, he's moving too fast for her. So it's making me wonder, like, Dede, what are you doing? What are you doing? Are you trying to ship now? And I'm going to be frank with all of you. It was kind of disappointing to me as a viewer. And the reason it was disappointing to me is because, ladies and gentlemen, what's made Dede catch the eyes and the attention of not only the viewers, but also our fellow housemates, is a mysteriousness. You see that mysteriousness that she had around her, you know, that's that thing of her being an enigma. Nobody can read her. Nobody knows what she's thinking. Nobody knows what she's feeling. You know, that defense mechanism that she has, you know, covering her. Like, people are trying to unravel this mystery of a girl, but they cannot unravel her. They're trying to piece her together like a puzzle, but they cannot. The fact that she's not giving anything away, the fact that she's literally above all of their curiosities, they are trying to reach, but she's unreachable. That was the thing that's pushed a lot of the viewers towards her, because people were trying to really understand what this girl's game was, and a lot of people were impressed, just like myself. And that is how she's been keeping the house talking. But then, lately, especially towards the end of last week, she has started shifting. And now it seems like because Jason J is no longer in the picture, is now with Sultana, it's giving, I'm upset with Jason, so I want him to be jealous, so I'm giving Kola a lot more access to me, I'm giving Kola a lot more attention. I want Jason J to see us holding hands. I want Jason J to see me resting my head on Kola's thighs so that he'll be jealous, so that he'll come back to me. It's giving that. It's also giving, I'm kind of lonely in this house. My friendship with Mide is no longer as tight as it used to be. I'm feeling lonely. I need tender love and care, because she mentioned that to Big Brother during her diary session, that some days she wakes up needing love and attention, but she's not getting it, you know. So it's now giving, maybe she's buckling under the pressure of the house, you know, the isolation of not being close to your loved ones in the real world. So you're looking for something that is close to the love that you're used to on the outside. And from the look of things, Kola is very enthusiastic and ready to give all of that attention and affection to her. So she's just keen into it to enjoy it for the time being. So it's giving that as well. And guys, whichever one she is leaning towards, I totally understand and I get it. However, just like I put out on Twitter, I feel like she's completely losing her steez. She's losing her mysteriousness. She's losing the reason why our fellow housemates kind of respected and revered and hated her at the same time. Yeah. It's giving that she's losing that command that she has. You know, it's now giving, see finish is now entering into the picture. It's now giving, you are now satisfying Kola's cravings. And we know what's going to happen next. Kola is going to go and brag to Bright that, see, she has been playing hard to get. I'm the one that finally conquered her. Because guys, let's not forget, Kola is on a mission to conquer Dede's ego, to conquer Dede's pride. From Dede not giving him a hug from the beginning, from Dede not wanting to give him a handshake from the beginning, from Dede rejecting him several times over, to Dede now resting her head on his laps. In my opinion, that is Kola already conquering Dede. So I don't know what you think, but go ahead. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. But for me, I'm still keeping my eyes on whatever it is that's going on between those two. And if Dede finally ships Kola, I'm going to be so disappointed. Because as I said before, her individuality was a breath of fresh air this season. The fact that she could walk into Big Brother's house and decide not to hug any guy and decide to play a solo game whilst stringing along some eager guys that really wanted to ship with her, that was epic. That was fresh. That was a fresh script, a fresh strategy that we've never really seen before. Nengi tried it, but did not really give it what it was supposed to give. So she came with that elevated strategy. So that her individuality is what has been really keeping me glued to watching her gameplay. But now if it looks like, oh, she's now finally going to get into a ship with Kola, then I'm afraid that she's going to lose that individuality. So guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I will see you all on another episode of Frankly Speaking with Bbnaija. Thanks for watching. Have an amazing day.